Hey guys and girls, you're listening or watching right now the Bartender's Jukebox podcast. This is the house of men's mental health, and we talk about mental health on this and all kinds of stuff, from wrestling to life, depression. We try to stay away from politics and religion and all that bullshit. So I got Josh and Chad Yoder on with me, and my man Rob Noxious, like always. So let's get into it. Do you guys want to talk wrestling first, or you want to talk about life and depression?
It's the Yoder brothers, brother.
Either way, it doesn't matter which one we start with.
All right. So we'll talk about, I talked to you guys recently, or at least Chad. You were saying that like, a lot of the stuff in the ways of the world these days have been getting you guys. And I can understand that. What are some of the things that bug you nowadays? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, I think the main thing right now is how toxic this so-called like culture war has become on around, not just in social media, also mainstream media now. It's like everything's always like this, everything's always that. It's like, oh, you're being racist, oh, you're being a bigot, oh, this is too woke. Like there's just so many like factors coming in there now, and it's hard to really like be enjoying anything in life now because of that. And I think I've noticed a lot of people they talk about like with mental health, it's like they talk about like the suicide rate is going up in lots of ways now because of that stuff. And I think the culture war has been like a major factor in that. Not the only factor, but it is, I think, a very big factor.
I can understand that. Let's see here.
I just wanted to add to like what Chad was saying. Like what also doesn't help us either too is like we're just trying to just get by. Like where we live and a lot of other these places, like you can't really live off something like the workplace and all that stuff. And I just want to work, try to be a good person, and then just try to live a normal life. And it's kind of hard to do that nowadays with all the BS going on in the world and all that.
I can definitely understand where you're coming from there, man. I recently moved up to Bradford County area in Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, one of the best things in the world that I've done is disconnect from the world. Like if you see stuff on Facebook and stuff like that, that's the really only time I'm online. Maybe once a week now I watch the news just because my daughter's in the Army. But the biggest thing I've come to find out is just disconnect yourself. Like try to find yourself. And once you start doing that with that toxic environment around you, like you'll notice things little by little start falling into place.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sucks right now. You guys are what, in your 30s?
Yep. 34.
Yep.
34. I mean, I just turned 44 myself, and my man Rob over there, he's I'm
the senior citizen here.
Yeah, I'll leave him. You know what I mean? I can say from my experiences, though, like especially growing up in a generation where it went from no media, like cell phones and stuff like that, and social media, all the way up to where we are now. Some of the best times of my life were when there was no fucking cell phones.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me and Josh, like our generation was like, we both grew up in the 90s, which we'll probably talk more about that here in a minute. But like when we were kids, we had like we had a computer class. Like we would learn like in school, in elementary school, where they wanted us to learn how to use a computer. But the thing is, they taught us in a very limited way. Like they didn't want us on certain things. They just taught us like, hey, here's this, here's that, here's what you can do here. And it was very helpful because I mean, obviously I'm not like the biggest social media fan. Like most of the stuff that I would look up, like whether it's YouTube or Facebook, it's mostly like stuff like fan films. Because I've been a huge fan of like, I'm a big like as you see here, I'm a big comic book nerd here, the Green Arrow shirt. And I also have like a Power Ranger coin. I'm a big nerd on that stuff.
Hey, man.
I've always had a little love that. I wish I could do that. I just don't have the money nor anywhere to go to help me learn that. And I think it's also another thing that's kind of frustrates me too, is like people say like, oh, there's like, you want to do stuff, but then it's like, you can't because apparently like it's either because of inflation, it's like, it's too expensive, or you're not the right person that they kind of look for now. And I think it's becoming a problem.
Well, to add to your, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, to add to your point too, Mark, is that our generation was kind of like the internet was starting. So we were still kind of like still told to go outside, have fun, actually talk to people. And nowadays it's just it's weird. Like,
yeah, like you still, thankfully, we do see like a lot of the younger generation of today going out and like, ride bikes and, and have the stuff, do sports and have fun. But I think it's but overall, like it's hard for them to like, get away from phones now because they need to have one now at a younger age because either parents are too busy because they have a lot of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, or they're just like extremely addicting. And so it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like you win some, you lose some in that aspect.
Yeah. El Senor, what do you say?
I say that I like to disconnect too sometimes. I think it's really cool to just, leave everybody alone. Like my phone barely rang today, barely got any text messages today. We were cleaning out the school and it felt good to just be able to do something and not be attached to the phone and be like, oh, this person, that person, you know what I mean? And we went to a haunted place last night called Terra Farms in Newport. And the kid that rode with us, he's one of my trainees. His wrestling name is Jimenez, but his real name is Ziggy. Well, that's not his real name, that's his nickname. But anyway, Zig was with us and we were saying how we had pagers and before cell phones, and how girls would send us codes on the pagers, you know what I mean? All the numbers, and you had to decode it, and it was like Christmas story where drink more Ovaltine, you know what I mean? Like
It was, what was it? Let me see if I can remember the code for hello. Was it like 43770?
yeah,
Something like that.
But then they got more technical, and the girls would write like, a 4 for whatever 3 letters were in the alphabet on the phone. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, dude, I love back in the days with pagers. I just randomly, call them and put 8675309 in. So many people. Oh man, the guy who owned that number got so pissed after a while.
Yeah, I bet.
All right, so I've seen something interesting. I'm
say
sorry.
hi to my boy Dexter.
What's up?
Dexter's with you. What's going on, kid?
What's up, man?
Yeah. So we're chill. Ready?
Can we bring it up?
If you guys want to hold on a second.
Yeah. All right, so since I got Chad and Josh while he's doing that, I'm going to throw out something here. I recently seen Arn Anderson had stated that Bill Goldberg's best match was against William Regal. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that match before.
yes.
No, I remember a little bit of that match. I think I wouldn't be surprised that be considered the best match because like William Regal, despite like he can be stiff whenever he wrestled. So but like he always was like very ring aware. Like he knew what to do, he knew how to set something up, and he knew how to think on the fly when something would not go as planned. Because obviously in pro wrestling that does happen a lot. I mean, I learned most of that from Mick Foley because he kind of said that too. Like when you look in the ring, you have to learn how to think on the fly in order in case something changes. And so a lot of stuff there. And I wouldn't be surprised that William Regal, like I wish, like Goldberg. I mean, obviously Goldberg was more of an attraction type of wrestler, or because he came in so fast. But I think if he had guys like William Regal more often, I think he would have been still wrestling to this day because I think he would have had better athletic ability and ring awareness than he would have then.
Don't let Chad fool you because he likes Mick Foley because of the hardcore stuff.
Bob, I don't know if you heard that statement there or what I just said about how Arn Anderson said the best match Bill Goldberg ever had was against William Regal.
But it was. Of course it was. That's because William Regal put his ass in check and, made sure he wrestled and not just,
Yeah, well, plus, like I think a lot of the other wrestlers that he worked with in WCW, and Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of them had like other storylines that they were doing. So I think it was like Goldberg was just there, like again, like have like 2-minute matches and then boom, over.
Yeah. That's the whole reason for Goldberg. He was there to just be a beast, and everyone get behind the beast, get behind the machine, So, and it worked, but a lot of times when you do that, that's why Bill Goldberg has the attitude he does towards wrestling, and because he didn't appreciate it. They just pushed him to the moon, and he really wasn't a good worker, and he never had to really learn how to be a good worker because they were pushing him.
I think he also had a lot of political and then also like a lot of people would say like he had like people in the NWO in his ear a lot too, because Scott Hall and Kevin Nash would always like, whether that's true or not, like whether they just run shop on anything, and you guys would know that more than me.
I don't know anything about the insides of that stuff. I after Kevin Nash was anything in WCW, I turned it off. I'm not a fan of Kevin Nash.
Why is that? Why is that?
Why is that? I mean, in the end, Vince McMahon killed WCW, but I think Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and Hulk Hogan had the biggest hand in helping destroy WCW. Mm-hmm. With their greed for money, which I mean, I get it. I guess if I could have a contract like that, I would do the same. But they weren't in it for the love of wrestling. They were in it for the love of money. That's what I think. I mean, but everybody wants to make money at the end of the day. But you still, if you're going to be in it, you got to love it a little bit, I would think.
Or at least have like an interest,
or what
appreciation,
or at least have like an interest.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right, so what are some of the things you guys do to like cope with the ways of the world and what everything that's going on? I know, Chad, you said you were into a lot of comic stuff and whatnot. Josh, what about you, man? What are some of your peak interests?
I'm a writer.
You're a writer?
Yeah, I'm a writer. I write poetry, which earlier this year I launched a poems book. I'm still working on poetry and hopefully try to get a novel going. And I also help out with a Hometown Sports magazine, trying to help promote other stuff, which Rob knows what I'm talking about because I cover some of the shows down there when Seven Mountains comes in.
Right on, man. Right on.
I also heard Josh was a referee a week ago.
Oh, man, that was
Joshua?
Yeah, it was true because it was actually out of the bloom. I literally showed up to write a show for Hometown, and I guess Matt had 2 refs, and then for whatever reason never showed up, never responded to his calls, and he pulled me and another kid over to the side, and he was like, "Hey, Josh, I really hate to do this to you." I'm like, "Why? What's wrong?" And he's like, "My guys not show up, and they're not responding to my messages. So could you ref?" And I was like, I didn't want to leave him hanging.
Right.
Well, plus you had me. I was writing up this stuff for you then too. Like, I mean, I'm not a sports writer like you, Josh, but I like making up stories too. But you did very well though for a ref, because you pretty much ref half the show.
That's how Josh started, though. Josh was a ref before he wrestled, so he knows what he's doing.
Rob, you know, it's funny you say that, Rob. You know what people were saying in the back?
What's that? They
were like, "Wow, Josh, for a guy doing it for the first time, you did pretty good as a ref." And I'm like,
remember that,
dude. And I'm like, dude, this ain't my first time. And he's like, what? I said, I wrestled and ref for like 6-7 years. And they're like, wait, what? I did get hurt though in the ring because I forgot how small Matt's ring was.
Oh, really?
Everyone's way.
Yeah, he kind of.
I hurt my knee a little bit. Nothing.
Yeah, he was more bruised than anything, like injured. But it was like he had to move like really fast, and again he was last second, so it was like he kind of had to move around. But he did very well.
Oh, you didn't have no knee pads either, did you?
No, I did not have knee pads.
Definitely gotta have the knee pads.
Yeah.
But Can you guys hear me real well? My earbuds just died on me, so I just want to make sure.
I can hear you.
You're good, man. You're good.
I can hear you.
All right, cool.
Well, yeah, it was crazy because everybody was like shocked, and like they were kind of caught off guard by like some of the wrestlers. Like, man, you really like tried to keep control of the ring. I said, well, that's part of the job,
right? that's your job as a ref, too.
I mean, yeah, like I wish I could have trained, but I didn't have money. But it was like me and Josh, we educated ourselves. We knew that hey, that's the whole point of wrestling. We've known this stuff for a long time, so it was like we knew what we needed to do if the situation called for it.
I'm big
I'm
into.
just saying, you guys are talking to a phenomenal trainer right now.
Yeah, that's right. He did. Well, that's who trained Josh, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Payne, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah,
also,
I-
Also, man.
actually,
trust
Mark,
me, I think about it every
actually
day.
remembered in a past video when you were talking with Rob about talking about finding ways to help relax, is like some of the things that some people would find like odd and stuff, we would find
Yeah.
therapeutic because it helps us relax, you know, that stuff. And like so that's also other things we do too. Because some people look at me like when I ask like, how does that supposed to help you like relax? I was like, well, because I like stories. Like one of my favorite shows as a kid was Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I just love the details of it. And one of the things that made me love it more was right before they go to commercial, they would show you tricks on how they did it. And I was like, man, that is so awesome. I'm like, I wish I could learn to do that.
Hey, Rob, were you trying to ask me something?
No, I think he's talking to his kid because he has his mic mute.
And I just heard my name. I was like, oh, did someone ask me something? But,
Oh no.
but yeah, no, it's just,
Dexter was leaving.
See you guys.
He said,
See
"See
you,
ya."
Dexter.
Yeah, Dex.
Yeah, Dex was leaving, and he was getting the Valor promotional stuff together. So, but he almost took the CCW stuff.
yeah, no, but Rob was my trainer. Rob was my trainer. Like people ask me, like, who trained you? And I was like, same guy who trained Matt.
Yes.
And people, and then people are like,
then they say, Chuck trained you?
oh god,
You were self-taught?
yeah.
Yeah, we're self-taught.
I'm all for people trying to learn on the fly, but you still got to have someone to watch your back when it comes to training.
Yeah.
Like fundamentals, like what you mean, like fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
Basically, because there's people that just they're doing things. I'm like, what's that?
I know what I was going to say to you. One,
Okay.
why are you in black and white?
Why am I in black and white?
Yeah, like
He's probably in a dark room right now. It's just the
Oh, I'm in
lighting
another
from
room.
you're
Oh
in
yeah,
a dark.
he went because like our videos were echoing at each other, so he went to another room.
Okay. Yeah, get some color to you, Josh. You look like a serial killer.
I got a bit of a Seamus look to you.
Yeah, you kind of. I see
How's
more of
that?
Baron Corbin.
Oh,
Baron
geez.
Corbin.
Oh,
You
don't
know-
compare him. Corbin's not doing very well right now. So I
You
wouldn't-
look better. You look better, Josh. Thank you. You just look so serial killer like and a little weird.
Halloween's been over now for a few days.
Well, you know me, I was the emo one.
All right, so wrestling. Let's get back into this.
All right. What do you want to know about wrestling? Go
All
ahead.
right, so now I'm going to bring up an opinionated thing. Josh, Chad, what do you think of the Young Bucks?
I don't care for him.
Okay.
I think
I already
they're a
know Rob's
talented
answer.
tag team, but I think their problem is that like they just got that recent hype being part of like Bullet Club and New Japan, and then like I mean AEW is pretty cool. I mean it has like its moments, but I feel like they're not as over as a tag team as they think they are. Like if you would like if I would compare them to like a tag team right now that's pretty popular, I would go with the Motor City Machine Guns. They were more over in a sense because like one, they had veteran tag teams, they've had good storylines, and they've had great matches. With the Young Bucks, I feel like they're still learning like aspects from the momentum they had from when they were in New Japan and part of Bullet Club. But as of right now, like they still have lots to learn in their own ways, especially for like a bigger stage and big on worldwide television.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks. I don't really get them, honestly.
All right, Rob. He might have me on mute right now.
He does.
Yeah,
I always like to get his opinion on this one.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think he
Rob,
wins.
give me your honest opinion on the Young Bucks.
How about that?
Yeah, I don't think he wants to give his opinion.
So my opinion is, I haven't watched enough of them, but what I watched, I'm just not really a fan. You know, I'm also more old school than most people, and I really think that, everybody knows that wrestling is predetermined and choreographed or whatever. But when you actually are exposing shit in front of the fans, it just drives me crazy. Like the fans there to watch you, to escape their life, to think for as many hours as they're there that professional wrestling is real. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted to escape their reality. And then when people expose wrestling, they're the ones that just want to kick in the balls.
Nikita says Motor City Machine Guns have way more skills than the Young Bucks and more content.
Nikita!
Super kick. That's all they got.
Nikita, his whole family, all his brothers and sisters are named after professional wrestlers.
Right.
Nice.
Do you remember Nikita, Josh? He used to train with us.
If I had a photo, maybe. If I had a photo.
Him and his brother. It's the Yoders. Let me tell you a story about Nikita. So Nikita and his brother AJ came. Guess what his brother's name was? Austin. But AJ and that's what his nickname was, right? AJ and Nikita came to the school one day, and Nikita's nose was like this, and I go, "Damn, boy, your nose looks like it's broke." And you know how they do it on TV?
Yeah.
I did that, and his nose said crunch and went right back in place. And he goes, "Oh my God, me and my brother got in a fight before we got here." Yeah,
Man, that
True
sucks.
story about those two boys. They were crazy. Yeah,
If I had a photo of him, I probably would remember them. It's been a while, but
he's on Facebook. What's Nikita's last name? Nikita, what's your last name? I forget it.
Wenrick.
Wenrick. That's it.
I was gonna say Koloff, but
All right. So next question. In your opinion, who is the biggest heel in the business right now?
Dominic Mysterio.
does anyone know how to be a heel?
Dominic Mysterio. Ready for the next one?
I think Dominic is a good heel. Like I think right now, like some of my favorite heels is like besides Dominic has to be like from AEW. I think John Moxley right now because of like how he talks and how he's been doing that stuff.
I gotta say, I'm an MJF guy.
Yeah, I like him. MJF's good. I feel like he's kind of overused right now.
I think John Moxley exposes wrestling more than anybody.
Amen.
All right, ready? You want mine?
Yeah,
I'm going
go for
to be mad at this one. I think besides Dominic Mysterio, when he wrestles, Logan Paul is the best heel.
Oh, without a doubt, he already got the heat coming in because people doubted him.
He hasn't won one match without cheating.
Yeah,
it's great.
The only thing I can really say about Logan Paul, I can remember him, is when he did that one thing with Ricochet at the Rumble where they jumped on the top rope and they collided into each other. But that was it. Other than that, I don't really.
What about the backflip? Did you see that? The springboard backflip was amazing. Listen, out of anybody who's come in that's crossed over to wrestling, I think Logan Paul has put the most dedication out of anybody who's ever crossed over.
You don't think Karl Malone did?
I thought what was his name? Dennis Rodman did for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah,
oh shit.
Yeah, I think
so if you were to give your Mount Rushmore, as like people like to do nowadays, of heels, who would they be?
Up today?
Your Mount Rushmore, not just today.
Okay, in general. Okay,
Oh, in general. Okay, go ahead, guys, and then I'll go last.
Yeah, Josh, you go first.
When in terms of heels, Ric Flair's got to be in there. I think Rick as a heel, what he was doing back in the 80s. Well, again, during the time it was a good one. I also really enjoyed Raven when he was a heel. Just like the whole concept of it, and in a weird way, I could relate to it. As weird as that sounds, heels. Honest, I'm trying to remember his name because he was like a Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan's got to be in there. I think Bobby Heenan.
That's a good one there, Josh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Bobby Heenan could insert riots just by looking at him, and honestly, people might be surprised by this one. I thought Rick Rude was pretty good.
Damn you took Mark.
We can have the same ones because
You're right. We can.
I think obviously Bobby Heenan I think is a good heel, and I do agree with Josh on Raven because I think especially when he was doing a lot of stuff in both ECW and TNA because he had his own group. I think Serotonin. I think it was in TNA. Is that what they called?
He had
I don't
multiple
remember
groups.
TNA. I know in WCW he had his
Let's
own.
see, Raven, Bobby Heenan. Let's see. I think another good heel. I think another good heel would have to be The Undertaker, especially when he was doing like the Ministry of Darkness. Like I thought that was so well done how he did that. I think Randy Orton can be a good heel. Like when he talks, like he I mean he can be both, but he can be a very good heel. And then I think another one. I think in TNA. What was his name again? Conan. Like he managed LAX. Is that his name? Conan.
Yeah.
Yep.
He could be a good heel.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark. Who's yours?
First and foremost, Roddy Piper.
Oh gosh,
yeah, right.
Hands down, Roddy Piper. Like he probably takes up my whole Mount Rushmore, to be honest with you. Absolutely. Dude's been stabbed how many fucking times leaving arena?
Yeah.
At least like 3?
Yeah, no, like they
Just
actually
for pissing people off.
Well, he's a
I mean,
heel,
Rick
but like
Rude. Shane Douglas, though.
Oh, Shane was good.
yeah, Shane was
Shane
good.
Douglas.
Yeah.
I liked it when he was an asshole.
Yeah, remember that promo we did on Flair?
Yes.
Which one?
The one where he was talking about how like he was going to eventually be heavyweight champion, but then he just decided to throw it on the ground and become ECW champion.
That was he did. That wasn't just about Ric Flair. That was about the whole NWA title. He did that NWA title, so they can just make a statement for ECW. But yeah, Shane Douglas. I love Shane Douglas. I think he's one of the most underrated wrestlers in the world.
I agree.
I can agree with you
I
there.
agree.
So
I can definitely agree with you there. And for my last heel, oh man, it's just I like Macho Man when he was in his heel mode.
Yeah, he had a lot of them. I think one in particular was like, didn't he become like when he won King of the Ring?
Arn Anderson. It's kind of like Macho Man had the the charisma, but Arn Anderson, I mean,
I love Arn
Stone Cold
Anderson.
Killer right there.
Yeah.
He was straight
No,
to
I
the
feel like
point.
Dude, I liked Arn Anderson. Like one of my favorite moments, actually, it wasn't him wrestling. It was like when the Horsemen were being inducted in the Hall of Fame. He was the last guy to talk, and as soon as he came in on the stage, everyone starts just screaming and applauding and like all that stuff. And it was like, dude, that's amazing. Like,
yeah,
how he was, because he was great on the mic and he was a great wrestler.
see, there's so many, dude. There's so many different reasons.
There's plenty.
Like you want back in the day. You want heels from old or from new?
In general,
man, throw them out.
See, I got too many. Like, I think one of the greatest heels in the UWF was Eddie Gilbert, for sure.
That's a name I haven't heard for a while.
And then Michael Hayes was a great heel.
Free Birds, yeah.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah. Another one for me too, Tracy Smothers.
Yeah. And,
which one was Tracy Smothers?
Oh.
And Gino Hernandez was a great heel. See that I can go on. Rick Rude was another one.
Yeah, Rick was good.
Today, I think Dominic, Gunther. Gunther is so good at being a heel. I love it. He's annoying, but he's
like that. He's kind of like in a way like wrestlers like Arn Anderson, because he talks about how like the ring is sacred. Like you have to like be the top worker in there. Like that's his mindset. I think a lot of people like that.
Yeah. To answer your earlier question too, Mark, I think Gunther might be the only one that's really being a heel anymore, at least in my opinion.
Well, Dominic is a really good heel. He cheats. He
lies. He steals.
Yeah, he's like, well. Actually, I think that's also like the problem though too is like with Dominic. Like some people like him as a heel, but a lot of them feel like he's too much. Like obviously with the hair and stuff like that. He feels like he's too much like Eddie Guerrero to actually.
That's kind of the feel they're going for, though, because the backstory question in every interview that people ask is Eddie your dad?
Yeah, they did.
And, like, still to this
Yeah,
day,
they
like,
did a
every
storyline
interview
for
I
that,
see,
didn't they?
it's brought up.
I think that in the next couple of years, Dominic will be just as good as Eddie Guerrero, because he's just got a mind for the business. He's so good, dude. Like, watch him. He knows where to be every time he's in that ring. His ring presence is superb for his young age. He's just, everything about him is so good, dude. He cheats. He gets his ass beat. I mean, his shirt says Latino cheat. That's an amazing shirt. They took it from Latino heat to Latino.
Yeah, he even add a C to it.
Yeah.
and it's a whole new shirt, dude. And it's awesome. I think wrestling as a whole has picked up. You know what I mean? And I think it's great. I mean, there's some guys that are heels that are on the independent that nobody can touch, and I'll say it. My boy Aaron Truth is the biggest heel on indie wrestling, like to the point where some people won't use him because he's too much for him.
I would love to hear him straight uncensored, like straight up uncensored.
You should have been in Marysville when we did the memorial show for my brother.
Yeah.
He was uncensored.
I reach out to him every once in a while. I'm like, yo, anytime you want to come on the podcast, man, you can act how you want. Go ahead. I'll put a disclaimer.
Yeah, he's really good. Aaron's really good. So he's good at being.
I've been thinking Phil Insane lately.
Yeah, I like Phil. We got a whole new thing that we're getting ready to do with Phil and Joey P, and we're gonna put them together.
Nice. Nice.
Do like they're psychos, you know what I mean? Like Phil's already, and then we're gonna have them come out to Iron Man. You know what I mean? And do that whole Phil, like, because they're two big dudes, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then we're just gonna work with them and teach them some stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that they don't already know things, but you know, you never stop learning. So I'm outside looking at the birds. There's a big old rock in the tree.
All right. So I asked about the heels. What about your Mount Rushmore of baby faces?
That's a tough one because you have to look at like different categories, like in-ring ability, talk, and like certain styles of experience of matches they're with. But like Josh, I'll do you want me to start, Josh, with that, or do you want to start?
Yeah, you can go.
I think obviously my in-ring, for my Mount Rushmore, obviously the first one is Bryan Danielson. Like, he's like the best in-ring wrestler today in all promotions. Like he's good in the ring, he can talk, and he also like, because he's one of those guys, because I've seen some of his matches in Ring of Honor that he gets it. Like, if he sees a match, if he's like on after somebody else, he'll look at the match and he'll try to be different from the match.
I think Chad Gable could be just as good as Danielson any day of the week.
I think my next one, besides Bryan Danielson, I think would have to be Malachi Black, because I just love his striking ability. Like, I love his technique, and he's good on his promos. Like, I remember, like, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but when he was doing that whole Dark Father promo, like those vignettes, they were so good. I thought they were pretty clever. I enjoyed them a lot. I think, obviously, AJ Styles, I would have went on there because I think he's a good wrestler. Shawn Michaels, and then the last one will have to be Mick Foley, because again, I'm a huge Mick Foley fan. I love everything he's done, and he's up there for me in there, Mount Rushmore.
Now, you said in terms of baby faces?
Yeah.
For me, I was big in the Sting when I was growing up as a kid. The Sting has to be in there. I have a lot of love and respect for Kurt Angle because I'm big into technical wrestling and what he's done, and I like Kurt Angle. I think baby faces. Honestly, I got to give Ricky Steamboat then.
Exactly. If nobody's a Ricky Steamboat,
Ricky Steamboat's got to be in there, and then in baby face wise, I'm trying to think of one more here because babyface, I would have to say, honestly, even though he was mostly a heel, I kind of really liked Owen Hart a lot. I thought Owen was like, I heard a lot of good stories.
Yeah, like he was very good in the ring. Owen won, like he said, like he kept bragging about winning 2 Slammy Awards and all. Like he was pretty good in the ring.
Plus, I like the fact that they showed a photo of him having the pig pens in Vincent's office.
I remember that story. Undertaker talked about that. Like he said about how like he let the hymns in his office.
I think Owen would have surpassed Bret Hart if Owen lived.
Yeah, I actually thought like he could have been WWE champion.
Yeah. Faces. Go ahead, Mark. Yours.
All right, I'm going to start off with Bob Backlund. Honest to God. I'm starting off with Bob Backlund.
Rob's already unmuted.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I was coughing. That's why I muted.
Steamboat, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. Baby faces. Bruno.
Sammartino. That's a good one.
And honestly, for me personally, I loved when Andre was a babyface, when he was the Gentle Giant.
Yeah, he started back. Wait, Andre started back in this back when it was WWF, right?
He was way before there, man.
Way before
there.
Well,
he was a teenager when he wrestled.
Well, could he? Yeah. Well, talk about heels earlier. Could anyone other than Bobby Heenan made Andre a heel?
At that time, no.
I personally think because of his size.
Yeah.
I think because of his size.
Well, I think so, but I think because of like that he was such a gentle giant and people just loved him. I think they needed someone like Bobby Heenan to make sure he got the heat because I don't think he would have been able to do it.
And Earthquake, I thought when he turned babyface was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
But like for me personally, I felt like when he turned babyface there, like he really wanted to do it instead of being a heel for so long.
Yeah. The sun crept out of my view, so it's getting cold. I'm gonna run into my house. Hold on.
Yeah, I think. What about the Shockmaster? Do you think he was a good baby face?
You know what? I mean, honestly, if they wouldn't have given that stupid gimmick, I think Fred could have really killed it. In WCW.
I don't know if you've seen that show, Legends of Wrestling, but me and Josh have, and they talked about the Shockmaster because Dusty Rhodes came up with the character, and they said like everything was fine at first, but then he said like it was sabotage because the reason he tripped because somebody put a board under there where he was supposed to go in, and he tripped over it and he fell down. He kept saying it was sabotage or something like that. I don't know if that was true or not. Or they're just having a laugh.
Yeah. What's going on, Dudleys? How you doing, Morgan and Joe?
Oh, hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
Thank you for tuning in with us here. Rob's on freeze right now. He just went inside, so he will pop back on here in a second. All right. So we talked about briefly talked about tag teams earlier with the Young Bucks. Who are some of your favorite tag teams right now?
Oh man, honestly, when I first, I might be a little biased having brothers, but like I really like tag team wrestling, and that's holy moly, that's a lot. I even like some ones I never got the chance to watch. You know, so there's a lot of them. Tag team wise, I thought they may be more of a faction, but I kind of liked. I'm a big Ted DiBiase like wrestling guy, so I like the Rat Pack with him, Duggan, and Matt Bourne when the UWF was like Mid South was going on. Midnight Express. I don't know how those guys aren't talked about more when it comes to tag team wrestling, honestly.
Midnight Express were one of the greatest tag teams ever.
Yeah, like Midnight Express, Jim Cornette, those guys are incredible. Arn and Tully.
Absolutely. The greatest tag team ever.
Yes.
Yeah, they got to be up there. And then last one. And there's so many of them, too. Like, I really like.
It doesn't have to be a Mount Rushmore. Just
it doesn't have to be Mount Rushmore.
Oh, geez. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to throw the Hart Foundation in there.
There's so many tag teams that were good, man.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And Rob, you guys might be surprised by this one. And well, actually, no, Rob, you may not be because I got it from the book you let me borrow one time. The Fabulous Kangaroos.
Yeah.
Wait, were those the guys with that guy who threw the boomerang?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I thought so. Yeah, 'cause
those guys, like, I could go I can go all day with tag teams.
Oh yeah, well, tag team. Well, for me personally, I think there are some good tag teams right now in today's world wrestling, but I feel like there are much fewer than it was before. And like Josh, I have a lot of respect for tag team wrestling. Maybe because again, I am a twin, but it's like I think it's become a lost art because most tag teams now are like just random people put together. They don't have like any sense of like any tag team. Like besides like the Motor City Machine Guns and like even like House of Black, even though it's like a 3-man group.
There are a lot of tag teams other than the Motor City Machine Guns.
I know, Rob.
Three birds.
Well, I think one tag team in particular that I really liked, even though they're one of them passed away, has to be Mark and Jay Briscoe, the Briscoes. Like multiple time Ring of Honor tag champs. Love them both. Both good talkers, both good singles and tag team wrestlers. Unfortunately,
I think FTR as well.
Oh, FTR, yeah, they're very good. I think another tag team that I watched was back in the 80s. I watched old videos of them. Had to be the Killer Bees.
Rock and Roll Express.
What's that?
Rock and Roll Express.
Oh yeah, they're
without a doubt.
Yeah, they're not a doubt. They're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I don't know if they'd be considered the greatest of all time out of all of them because there's so many of them.
Arn and Telly are the greatest.
Arn and Telly. What about the New Age Outlaws? New Age Outlaws was pretty good.
They were okay. They weren't Arn and Telly though.
No. Oh yeah, no. Like
Joe Dudley says Big Nasty.
Who?
Joe Dudley says Big Nasty.
Steiner Brothers.
Yeah, they're a good team.
That Raw Jules.
British Bulldogs.
Gino Hernandez and Chris Adams. Yeah.
Von Erichs. Yeah, Freebirds.
Oh yeah, Von Erichs, Freebirds.
You could really go down the line. All right, who do you think was the worst tag team ever formed?
The worst tag team? Oh, the Ding Dongs from WCW. They're horrible. Like, what the heck, guys? Like, did you really think that through, or did you just like? Because like they would have like didn't they have like ring bells right there in the corner for them?
I don't know. I think the WWE's version of the Midnight Express, whatever it was, with Eric Watts and whoever else.
Yeah. That was.
Was it one of the Hollies or something? Bob Holly.
I think so.
I don't even remember who it was, but it was horrible.
I wasn't a fan of the revamp of Legion of Doom either when they had.
You mean like Legion of Doom 2000?
When they had draws?
Yeah.
Or Heidenreich.
I wasn't a fan of what's that skateboarding gimmick they made Shane Douglas and Johnny Easton? Yeah, that was weird. That was really, really weird.
All right, Rob.
Tag teams. Go ahead.
Real question for you. So most wrestlers have gone through their career and they've had different gimmicks. I don't know if you've stuck with the same one or if you've changed it over the years. Has there?
No.
Have you had some, or if not, have you been?
Dude, no. When I first started, my name was Ricky Hernandez.
Okay.
I was a good guy, and my name was Ricky Hernandez. It was god awful. I was the worst baby face on the planet Earth. I just didn't like it. Couldn't do it. I just sucked.
At least it's better than a wrestling dentist.
No, the dentist was on TV.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he regrets it.
Oh shit!
I'm sure he.
So current WWE, what are you guys thinking going on with the Usos, the Tribe, all that stuff?
Being a writer, I'm still, and it's gonna sound really depressing, but I feel like I've gotten like a little disillusioned from like wrestling and even the world, just with like that, because like a lot of the stuff I'm watching, and me being a writer and all that stuff, it's hard for me to watch wrestling sometimes because I'm kind of like an old fashioned like Rob, where like I see something happen, but then they just totally change it up like within the same show, and I'm just like, what? So like I just see that it's kind of hard for me to watch sometimes. I mean, there's still some people like Gunther I like. I'm hoping it comes around. It's going to take time, but I'm hoping like things change soon because it's hard, and I'm trying not to let that be dependent on my mental health. But I watch some of this stuff, and I'm like, man, none of this stuff makes sense. And no, I don't really feel like anyone's trying to be different either. Like I don't really feel like anyone stands out anymore. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I am kind of similar on that too. I think especially with WWE, for example, I think like especially like if you're a guy that's popular on NXT and then you come up to the main roster, they try to change you in ways that it doesn't make any sense. And it also feels like they're doing too much of the same kind of match. Like they're just doing like the same thing over and over again. And some of it I don't buy into it. Like they don't seem to have like the ability to like try and do different moves. Like if someone's doing like one move in the corner, somebody does the same thing. Like instead of just doing a different move. So like try and add stuff to it that makes people notice you and all that stuff, especially if you have like a similar gimmick or fighting style, or that way it makes you stand out.
Well, Rob would be proud of me for saying this. He's like, nobody tries to talk to each other or watch each other's matches.
Didn't they call it like a sellout at the curtain? Like you watch the shows and you look at the matches and you try to make it different.
Really?
Well, yeah. You should always do something different in your match. You know, after you see somebody wrestle, you should always try to do something different. Never copy the moves that they're doing or anything like that. But you know, watch indie wrestling.
No, yeah.
There's a lot of indie wrestling where they do the same shit over and over and over again. I mean, you see there's some shows I go to, there's planchas in every match. There's some kind of dive out to the outside in every single match. There's DVDs, there's super kicks, there's the running the ropes, forearm, run the ropes, forearm. There's that now. I don't know.
Well, that's why I kind of like Cesaro when he first came in, because like he kind of started doing things like a little differently from that. Like I remember, because like you know how like some people just come up and do like simple like forearms. He would just come up and do like an uppercut, knock you right down, and all that stuff, and that would make you notice stuff. And like nobody just adds like different moves anymore.
And I think I was just gonna say it doesn't have to be anything fancy either. That's the weird thing.
One thing I think that's lost nowadays in the ring, and the art of the punch. The art of the punch. I see a lot of the forearms these days.
Yeah, same.
You know,
they don't even connect with it.
No,
or doesn't sound. Yeah, it doesn't even sound like it hurts. Or it's because like they don't just go with a punch, just punch him.
Just the art of the punch.
Well, and like
there's some guys that are killer at it though.
Yeah, like to make Rob proud again, like he would always people would always say like when I would do something, people were like, how'd you do that? And I said, I was taught how to aim. Like there's ways you could do it to make it safe. Like people nowadays, they shake their head. They're like, wait, how'd you do that? I said, how did you not know that? This was been going on since like the 30s.
Yeah. It's punches are cool. Punches are cool, but it's lost.
It's feel.
A lot of things have lost.
Yeah.
Common sense. You know what I mean? Like it lacks sense of. Okay, so like a lot of times, what drives me nuts is like if somebody rakes their eyes, then they throw them into the ropes. You know, you're not supposed to be able to see. So how are you gonna turn? You know, how are you gonna make the turn? You know what I mean? How do you know where you're going? Or somebody will kick somebody in the gut and immediately send them off the ropes. But if you get kicked in the gut, you're supposed to lose your breath, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you going to run the ropes if you can't breathe? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
I don't know. They just doesn't build the.
Well, they don't know. It sounds like they don't know how to build a structure.
Yeah, they don't have the structure of a match. You know, and it's like, but you know what though? On TV, they got to play it safe, man. They want to keep their spot, so they're gonna keep it safe and do safe things. I mean, Let's be honest.
Yeah, you can't get hurt.
Yeah, if you get hurt, you can lose your spot and never gain it back.
Yeah, and that's why I like
be safe.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's smart on their part. I mean, that's when you're making money, when you're on TV.
Yeah, and that's why I like guys. I'm big into technical wrestling. When I was doing it, and like, or even to this day, I still prefer because it kind of reminds you more of like almost like closest to amateur wrestling, almost like try to make it look like a sport. But to add to Rob's point, nobody paces anymore. Like if I hit a move, I can't give him 3 seconds.
Yeah,
like they just go right to another spot, and I'm like, that makes no sense. What? Why? Why are we running? And my favorite saying that Rob and even Zarb would always tell me when we were trained, he goes, when you think you're slowing down, slow down. Because you're not going slow.
Yeah.
Like
I think like the
and then my other favorite one was Rob was like, Josh, if they're not slowing down, make them slow down.
I think a perfect example of that, because like when you talk about like structure a match and having good pacing, I think 2 matches that come to my mind is obviously the obvious one is Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. And then the other one has to be Jay Briscoe versus Jay Lethal at Final Battle, because both those guys were just so good in the ring. Like, and yeah, it had hardcore elements in with Final Battle, but they knew how to wrestle, they knew how to sell it, they knew how to make it believable to the audience in that stance. And I feel like that's like a lost art right now for some of these younger guys. Like some of them are good athletes, but they don't have enough common sense to know how to structure like any kind of match and stuff like that.
All right, so I'm going to lead into another question here. Technical wrestler, who's your top guy?
Oh gosh, I mean, I
For
like
me
Ted
personally, Dean
DiBiase.
Malenko.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase is good.
Oh my gosh,
Dean Malenko.
Bret Hart.
So bad for him.
Yeah, Bret Hart's pretty good.
That's decent. I mean, Malenko for me. That guy was.
Did you watch any of his matches from Japan?
Eddie was technical too, by the way.
Yes, he was.
So was Mr.
Eddie.
Perfect.
No, Mr. Perfect was great. Kurt Hennig was great. Wait, wasn't his dad a technical wrestler?
His dad
Mr.
was a big
Perfect.
dude, man.
Boris, was it Boris, right? Is that his name?
No, the Axe.
Axe.
Oh, Kurt.
Yeah,
I thought we started talking about Dean
Kurt
Malenko.
Hennig's
Larry.
kid.
Oh,
We're
Larry.
talking about
Larry
Kurt
the
Hennig's
Axe.
kid, right?
Yeah, Larry the
Yeah,
Axe.
it was Axe
Yeah,
something.
Larry.
or other.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Gerald Briscoe and his brother? They were good technical
Jack.
wrestlers.
Oh, Jack Briscoe was amazing.
Yeah, no, he was pretty good like that.
Him and Dory Funk Jr.
Dory Funk Jr.
Speaking
was
of
pretty
Dory
good.
Funk, look at that. Look at him getting in the ring. What is he like?
80,
87 or something like that?
90.
Hey,
90?
Jerry Lawler. Was Jerry Lawler a pretty good technical wrestler? Or
94,
was he
you
more
said,
of a
right?
brawler?
I'm not sure how old he is. I was just
Okay.
saying shit.
Ted DiBiase was one of my
Talking shit.
favorites. Ted DiBiase was another one of my favorites.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase was good at, I guess, technical wrestling back in the day.
What about Fit Finley?
Yeah, Steven Regal,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I mean, obviously Triple H is pretty good too.
Daniel Bryan, or whatever his name is, Bryan Danielson, whatever. He's
Bryan
very.
Danielson, yeah, he's pretty good.
Goldberg's a good technical. Just kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Like saying
no
Bastion
one's
Booger
buying
was the
that,
best
Bob.
gimmick ever.
No one was buying that.
Shit.
Arn and Tully were great technical wrestlers. That's what made their tag team so good.
Oh, they were, and that's the thing. Like nobody tries to. What made them, at least in my opinion, like, and I try to emulate that regardless, whether it be singles or that. I try to adapt to everyone else's style. That way, it looks different and makes it more believable. And Arn and Tully did that. Like, I like Aussie Open right now too as a tag team. When they wrestled FTR, holy crap, was that amazing!
Oh, that was
Everything. It was amazing.
Well, I think it kind of goes to the point that Rob made about how like no one has like common sense. Like when you have different wrestlers, you're learning how to do different styles, and it helps put both of you over long term, because then you can help other wrestlers out. Like that's why tag teams like I'll use the Dudley Boys. They've been around for so many years and learned like they worked with so many other people. Like in the recent one I remember with the Dudleys had to be when they were going up against the Hardys and American Wolves back in TNA.
Yep.
And they were doing like a best of series for tag team wrestling, which I thought was some of the greatest matches in tag team wrestling in history today. And it showed like, hey, these old timers, they still got it, and you're learning from them. But it also shows like, hey, these young guys are like, wow, this new team is pretty good. Like, you don't see that anymore.
All right, I'm going to throw out an opinion right now for all of you. Bubba Ray Dudley, Roddy Piper, who was better on the mic?
Oh, Roddy Piper.
I'm going with Bubba Ray.
Because it's a tough one. They both knew how to piss off a crowd.
Oh yeah, that's. I have to say Roddy because I felt like he was just more like especially that one again back with like the Superfly when he hit him in the head with the coconut and stuff. I thought that was pretty.
Do you know where that happened at?
I'm trying to remember.
The coconut shot heard around the world. Hamburg Fieldhouse.
Nice.
Oh, nice. I'm trying to think. I don't know because when he was Bully Ray, I thought he was really good heel. I don't know. I could maybe give the slight edge to Roddy just because he did it for so long.
When
Rob,
him
what are your thoughts?
When him and Devon really became a tag team and they were like just tearing shit up in ECW, I thought he was good on the mic. I'm not a big Roddy Piper fan.
Understandable.
I mean, was he good? Yeah, but did he create everything and do everything that he said he did in his book? Hell no. Hell no.
It's like Hogan stories.
Yeah, I think he tries to take way too much credit for
Don't start with that. I already had enough friends talking about that with Hogan.
I
gotta agree with you, Rob. Though I gotta say, Bubba.
Yeah.
I don't honestly, as much of a Piper fan as I am, Bubba, just the way he would get a reaction from a crowd, like, and some of the shit he would say.
It's a close one for me personally.
Well, the reason why I give it to Piper though is because even though, like, yeah, Bubba Ray can be a good talker, a lot of people though would respond to him like saying, like, "Wow, I can't believe they let him get away with saying that." So it's like they're basically giving up the act that he's saying. Like that's why I give it to Piper because no one can tell if he was being realistic or not.
I got one for you guys, and this will tell me if you have any clue what you're talking about. Roddy Piper, Jake Snake Roberts.
I have to go with Jake the Snake because I feel like he was a much bigger heel than Roddy was.
Roberts all day though, because all right,
I'm gonna say Roberts.
Piss people off. He just had to make you feel his promo, make you feel exactly what he wanted you to feel through that microphone.
His promo
to piss you off. It was just to make you feel uncomfortable, and you knew he meant business.
Yeah.
Like when I remember when because he was trying to help out he was supposed to be trying to help out the Ultimate Warrior after he got trapped in that casket, and he told him like trust me, like he was telling you like trust me, I'm helping you understand what you're going through. And then when he finally goes and like stabs him in the back like that with that snake, I'm like, you son of a bitch. Like, he
knew it would have been nice to see Roberts get a run though in the WWE or WWF at that time if it wasn't for the Warrior and that whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah,
like I think he would have been a solid champion for a while.
Well, and that's what's crazy about Roberts' promo style. What I liked about it was like, yeah, he made you scared, but it also could be just the fact that he was so quiet, but you may not understand exactly what he meant by it. So I think that's what created a lot of the fear. So he could say something, and you're like, "What's that supposed to mean?"
Oh, remember,
all I could say is when a Roberts promo was on, my eyes were glued to that TV.
Yeah. Well, remember, snakes are quiet too, but they bite the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Well, I think also too, it's like with Roberts as well, is like he knows how to like have, like I said before with Golden Warriors, like he knows how to calm you down before he leads up to strike. Like he'll get you without just being mean. Like he'll just say like, "Hey, I'm your friend," and all that stuff, and then he'll stab you in the back when he gets the chance. Like he knows how to set that up.
He was a snake, dude. That was his character. He was a snake, and he did exactly what he was supposed to. His promos, his psychology, that nobody touches Jake the Snake in my eyes.
Yeah.
I love talking to him.
And it's a shame that he had his own demons, but like everyone else, we all have demons, man. We all have demons. We all have messed up shit in our life, and We deal with it, and some people just deal with it other ways. And then people talk shit. Oh, he was a piece of shit. This, he was a piece of shit. That.
Yeah.
But you
Dude,
can't.
look at Robert Downey Jr. That guy smoked crack, broke into his neighbor's house, and fell asleep in the baby's crib or whatever,
and came back.
And then he saved
Stronger
the Marvel Universe when you came Iron Man.
Stronger than ever. I mean, Charlie Sheen, on the other hand, not so much.
Right.
I don't really know the whole story of that with Charlie Sheen. I don't really know anything about that.
I don't really pay attention to celebrities, so I don't.
Charlie Sheen was a fuck machine. That's what Charlie Sheen was.
Yeah. All I can say is Tiger Blood.
Yeah, Tiger Blood.
Tiger Blood.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he said. He had. It was cocaine, is what it was.
Yeah, cocaine.
I'll take his word for it, I guess.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
You brought up Logan Paul earlier, Rob. I'm going to bring up his brother now, Jake Paul Tyson. Who's going to win, and do you think it's rigged?
I'm not even going to pay attention to it, honestly.
As a Tyson fan, of course, I want to see him knock him out. Do I think it's going to lead to that? No.
Hey, fingers crossed. You never know.
I would love to see Mike knock him out, but I don't think it's going to lead to a knockout. I think Mike's going to take a dive for it. I honestly do.
I don't know if he'd take a dive. I've seen him fight and all that stuff. I feel like he would never do that. Like, I feel like he would have too much pride in him to, like, even if he's
I would think that too, but the almighty dollar talks, dude, and it's not real. It's not a real sanctioned boxing match, so it's not like,
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to it, honestly. I'm just like, I don't know why anybody would want to watch it.
I mean Logan.
If it makes people money, they're going to do it. Like, if it makes them money, they're going to do it.
Exactly, and they're making a lot of money doing it. So I mean,
like, there was actually speaking of boxing, there was like a charity event where all of these internet YouTube celebrities were actually boxing each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what it was. The only reason I knew is because there was like a star who was on D&D show on YouTube that was in it. That's how I only knew. I didn't really know anything else about it that was happening.
That's great. That's great.
I think they did a celebrity boxing many years ago. I don't know if you remember the John Bobbitt case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was. I don't know if it was Lorraine or him. One of them was in a celebrity boxing match.
That's so funny.
Oh man.
I think she was
the first thing I ever had was celebrities and was Celebrity Deathmatch. You guys remember that show on MTV?
Hands down, one of the best.
Oh my god, I enjoyed that so much. Like, me and Josh would used to, like, probably shouldn't have say this, but it was like when we were kids, we used to sneak past our parents' bedroom to go in our brother Cody's bedroom to watch it because Mom would not like us watching it.
All I could say is, did you have the video game on PlayStation 2?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think we had it either that or on Xbox.
Dude, that was wicked awesome.
I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to ask this question. I know I asked Rob this, I think, the last time, and it's the only time I bring up politics. Joe Biden, Trump, celebrity deathmatch. What are the rules?
Well, I don't think. Well, the thing is, I feel like that fight would be one-sided because after seeing Joe Biden trip multiple times, I don't think he would understand the rules. I think he would just misheard it, and then he would just fall down.
It's celebrity deathmatch, though. Like, what is it? A diaper on a pole match, or who gets the Geritol first? I don't know.
Oh man, I would say it would have to be like some kind of debate. A death debate to see who would just make more sense to people, and whoever doesn't loses gets killed or something.
Did you say a death debate?
Yeah, death debate. That's the best thing I can think of.
Death. I thought you meant death.
Yes,
like they were signing
death.
each other. I just turn off the lights.
Yeah, no, that's the only thing I can think of. Like, if that's, but other than that, I would just go with a regular wrestling match between those two on Celebrity Deathmatch because honestly, it's just ridiculous how this stuff is.
All right, so we talked about the very beginning of like how like culture is toxic, and right here at the end, we just made fun of it. I think if we do more of that in the world, instead of taking it so seriously, because there's something I kind of live by, and to anybody that's listening or watching, don't take life too seriously. You don't get out alive.
No, you don't. You definitely don't.
And I don't mean that. I don't mean that in the fact of like, shrugging off other human life and stuff like that. I mean, just in general, though, like our own personal lives.
Yeah.
Like,
Stop taking
enjoy
them
it.
serious.
Don't take it too seriously because we all end up in the same place.
Yeah. 6
You know?
people.
Exactly.
Well, I think
Exactly.
I think it's like the problem is like why reason why some people take it too seriously is they feel like no one's taking it seriously enough. Like there's times where people would make like certain jokes and say certain things. I'm like, you do know they're just joking, right? Because again, they like some people would complain about how like, oh, you're stereotyping us with this and that. I'm like, how do you know that for sure?
Stop that shit.
COVID made everyone soft.
Yes, very much so.
Everyone is soft. Everyone.
Once we came out of COVID, it's
I disagree with that, Rob, because I feel like it didn't make people soft. I think it made people more paranoid, not soft. Like I feel like everyone's now on edge now because like, oh my god, there's like this disease and all that stuff. We could die, and like
Everyone has a reason to cry now. Everyone has a reason to bitch. Everyone has a reason to cry. Everyone has a reason to voice their opinion on social media and not be held accountable for their bullshit that they spew.
Yeah.
yes.
That's what I think.
yeah,
I
like
think people like to talk shit and don't know how to back it up. And then when you confront them, they're the first ones to call the cops. They're the first ones to say you were bullying them. But in the end, these people that are trying to cancel people for being a comic, they're bullying the comics. If you think about it, they're bullying everyone. Like comedy was supposed to be fun. It was supposed to make fun of people. It was supposed to make people laugh. And now you got to have fucking limits on comedy. That's bullshit.
yeah,
Well, it's kind of like what you mentioned earlier too, Rob. Like when it comes to comedy or video games or comic books or like D&D, like and even wrestling, is like it's supposed to help people get away from it.
Right? Yeah.
And
like
here's
like
another
a
thing.
live action role play.
Yeah, like it bothers me a lot too because it kind of offends me. Me being a writer, I just want to tell a good story. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I just want to tell a good story and hopefully inspire people and bring hope, And also another thing too, I wish people would be a little bit more grateful for things, and which kind of brings me to what I wanted to show Rob. He might be surprised I still have it, but one of the most heartbreaking things I ever had to experience was to sit across from Rob and tell him I had to leave. And that same night, everybody that was there, my last show, did this.
Oh, the plate.
Yes,
I almost forgot about that.
I remember you telling me about that story, Rob.
That's great,
I
Josh.
remember you telling me
Still
about the
have
plate.
it. I never forgot you guys.
In the top shelf there on our
Above my bed.
I almost forgot about that.
I
That's the
still
first
have
thing
it
we
to
see
this day.
whenever we leave. Like that's awesome.
That's great.
To this day, I still have it.
That's great, Josh.
Yeah, and I think another problem is too because we kind of talked about this as well. Is that like everybody is like very one-sided, and like what you said, Rob, as soon as someone confronts them, like the whole point of like for me personally, like when it comes to storytelling, because I kind of sent this to you, Mark, on my blog post about reality of fiction, is that it helps you like not only relax from the stress of the world, but also allows you to think in the sense of like of a different opinion because everybody now is so busy doubling down but not admitting that you're wrong. No, you're the one that's wrong, even when they make valid points. Like no one does that.
Right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. A lot of times though, when I see the people start getting into arguments, it goes back to that disconnecting thing. I disconnect from the conversation.
So do
I
I.
don't even get involved. If somebody has an issue with me, fuck them.
The only drama I watch is on Patrol. Other than that, I don't watch the news. I don't like listening to the news. I don't like listening to people's opinions on Facebook. Social media is the devil, dude. Social media is the devil.
Yes, I agree with that. Well, and I don't mean to like. I'm trying not to like shove religion on you guys, but when I say this, but it's like when it comes to life, like I've kind of lived this. Well, Rob knows this. I've lived like a sheltered life for a good bit because me and Chad were born with like scoliosis, cerebral palsy.
ADHD.
I wanted to explore the world, but I also I have no I don't see what's wrong with having morals and all that stuff too. Like nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that like no one's perfect. It's impossible, but
Yeah.
I've always wanted to explore things. But going back to like what Rob said, like seeing how everyone's acting, it's like I don't really want to go out and be around the world anymore, kind of thing. It's kind of scary.
That.
Yeah,
It's a scary thought.
It is a scary thought. Like I never thought of it much at first about this, but when they actually made a joke a while back on an old TV show they used to watch, where like everybody was talking to each other, but they were doing it by phones. Like they were literally all sitting next to each other and making jokes. Like, well, what are they doing? And it's like, well, it's a texting circle. Wait, they're texting to each other, but they're sitting right next to each other. You guys have weird customs. Like they were making a joke out of that. It's like you're right there. Just talk to each other. Like
exactly.
Why you need to talk? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And like I'm all for everyone having an opinion, but we got to try to find the commonality here. Like, where's that? We have way more things in common than we do different. Like we out of 10 things, we could have 9 things in common, but it's the one thing that's ruining everything.
That all comes down to the self-control of losing it. In a sense, in my opinion, because do you want to engage in that? You can say live and let live and move on, or if your conviction about it is so strong that you want to engage in it, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah,
right.
But just know that in the end, you're gonna get mad or pissed off over it. If you really have that bond with somebody, just leave it be and just hey,
move on. Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. It's strange. Like the world is always going to keep changing, and things are going to be different. And, like I think a lot of it is accountability. Nobody is held accountable for the shit they say and the shit they do. I mean, I know this is pretty harsh to say, but yeah, I mean, look at all these kids that have guns and they shoot and kill other kids. Like, make them accountable. What are you going to do? Put them in jail for the rest of their life? No. Eye for an eye. I bet you if they executed one of these kids that go around shooting kids all the time, shit would change. Shit would change. Not that I'm saying, hey, let's go kill all the children, because that's not what I'm saying.
No.
If like there was in Harrisburg, I think it was 2 weeks ago, there was a kid, I think he was 16, he was shot and killed, and as the cops were there was 2 shootings like blocks away that some of the cops had to leave and go to the other crimes. Like, if they catch them people, they need to have make them be accountable, make them pay for their actions. Don't sit them in prison and let's pick their minds. Let's see what made them do it. Nah, they did it, and of course you got to have complete evidence that they did it. But when somebody has done something, end it.
Well, it's frustrating too, because like you see a lot of these teachers that like people complain about schools, but then like a lot of them just because they didn't know what to do and they're fed up with it. And it's like, well, wait, you're the adult. Like I understand, like people joke about it, people pick on each other. I get it. But if it's getting to the point where someone's going crazy, why don't you be an adult and actually step in and be like what Rob said, hold them accountable. Like, whoa, enough. Like we're done. We're not doing this no more because people are getting hurt. And it's next thing you know, kids, because whether people like it or not, they're going to find ways to harm somebody back if they feel like they've been attacked.
Even if they don't get attacked, I mean, there's kids that are just idiots, dude. That just go around and
the problem because I've seen this with people as well is like everyone's just so radical. Like because like what you said, like just don't, when you talk about people like on social media, like just ignore them, like just tell them, like just don't listen to them. The problem is that like being held accountable is like a lot of people are mad because they feel like only one side's being held accountable, while everybody else is still going saying the very same thing that they claim those people were doing.
Right.
So and like what you said, Josh, with some of these teachers, like some of these teachers, they want to do something, but they end up getting in trouble though too. Because there was like a buddy of mine had told me, and Josh, I think you were there, where they said like there's like special like summer programming for teachers to learn how to handle students and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, dude, these teachers, some of them can be a bit hard, old school, but a lot of them would have enough sense to know what kids are going through, or
No, you
have
know what?
them teach them.
You know how they handled that shit back in my day?
No, yeah, I believe it.
Snatched us the hell up, or we got a paddle. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Took
Here's the point.
discipline away from school, and that's why shit's all fucked up, because they took discipline away from our homes. They took discipline away from our house, from our schools, and now everyone thinks that they're allowed to be disrespectful little fucks.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think also with that is like they don't know the difference between discipline and abuse. Like I feel like there's a lot more discipline stuff going on than I think that they let them to admit, because instead they just think it's all abuse. Like they don't think it through and like, well, maybe this kid was being misbehaving, so they had to get in trouble. They had to be punished for it.
But that's why they became all these rules and all this shit. And that's why there's so many people that do what the hell they want.
Yep.
And I don't know about you. I came from a home. There was guns in my house. There was all kinds of guns in my house. And I would get my ass beat by my mom.
Yep.
I would get my ass beat by her boyfriend. You know what I mean? When I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he had guns.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't never, not one time, thought I'm going to go in that room and grab that gun and shoot his ass. You know why? Because I knew that if I didn't shoot that motherfucker, I knew I was going to get the ass whooping of a lifetime.
There was consequences behind it.
Absolutely,
there was a point in the case.
Consequences and repercussions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
back in the
Josh.
90s. Back in the late 90s, there was a case. I don't forget if it was over in South Korea or China, for the simple act of putting gum on their subway. An American citizen actually had to get a caning.
Oh, in Singapore.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, he got his. They wore him out, and if we had shit like that in America, I bet you these kids wouldn't be grabbing guns.
Exactly, and that was just a piece of gum on the subway.
Yeah, he was being a douchebag, and they wore his ass out. He got that cane. He got that caning.
But that's because over there, like they have the structure that they start you off with. It says, "Look, this is wrong. Don't do this. These are the repercussions." Yeah. And I think we got lost in that translation along the way. Yes, like you point in case, maybe there was a reason why so and so acted out, but at the same time, like there's a fine balance between that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we'd have the defund the police. We got mob riots, mobs, theft going on in retail stores because there's no fucking repercussions whatsoever. And
you know what I hear all the time? I hear all the time, if they're stealing, we're supposed to let them go. Just let them walk out.
Well, I heard that too. I heard that too. But they also said like if they steal a certain amount of money, that's fine. But if they go higher than that, then they have to be in trouble.
But no,
there was a report in a neighborhood. I'm not going to say where because I'm pretty sure I'll be labeled racist for saying this. But there was like this this security store, young grocery store down in a town in some small city where they actually hired a security detail for that grocery store. These guys they don't have to buy like policy laws. Like they can just go and if you try to steal something from them, they could shoot you right there because you're stealing.
Have you gone to your local Walmart lately?
No,
I noticed that deodorant is on a locked case. Deodorant,
dude.
No, I never knew that.
Listen.
Go to your local Walmart and look at a lot of the toiletries and basic need stuff. It is all on locked cases now.
Underwear and socks at my Walmart are in cases.
Yeah.
At the Dollar General and Family Dollar, pregnancy tests are locked.
Yeah, well, what
everything at my Family Dollar has a security tag on it, from deodorant to laundry detergent. It all has locks on it.
Yep.
It's bullshit.
What's crazy? It's funny you say that, Rob, because when I used to work at Dollar General, we had a $1 pregnancy test, right? People would steal that, and I'm like, if you can't afford to pay a $1 pregnancy test, you probably shouldn't get pregnant.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I'm off person. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Don't matter.
I think there was also like another incident. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was like a robbery at a Best Buy where they were trying to steal a computer, But there was like, you know, those like security wires that they have attached on there. Like if you try to pull it, it goes off. Well, they thought they could steal it, so they grabbed the monitor and it goes off. And they tried to sue the security guy that stopped them. Like, one, you're not going to get away from him. He was like 6 foot and like maybe like a little over 300 pounds. And he looked like he had training, and he beat the crap out of both of them. He literally dragged them back into the store and like threw them around on the ground, and they're trying to sue him for like brutality. I'm like, you tried to rob the place and you attacked him. What did you think was going to happen?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they'll probably win.
No, they lost. They because
okay.
they ended up arrested because they admitted they stole something. So they weren't very smart people.
That's like if somebody robs your house and you shoot them, you still have the chance of being convicted for murder.
Yeah.
Especially if they turn around and you shoot them in the back.
Yep. That's such bullshit.
Yeah. Like there is such a thing as self-defense.
Yeah. And I don't know, like me and Rob growing up, we had our repercussions. Like we seen everything happen firsthand. Like you just didn't fuck around. You fucked up, you got your ass beat.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
I mean, you got your ass beat at school, you got your ass beat at home. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You spoke up, you got your ass beat. Hell, sometimes you even cry, you got your ass beat. And that's just that was just the way we were raised.
Yep.
Yeah. It was that old school mentality, like because like I'll use my dad for our dad, for example. Like he was never like people probably say, oh, no, he's never abusive, but he was very like stern on what he wanted. Like if we were like he's a deer hunter. Like if he had his guns out and even if they weren't loaded and they were like clean, he made it very clear we were never supposed to be in that room because he didn't want us to get hurt and all that stuff. So it's like he knew that. So I mean, he wouldn't smack you, but he would give you an earful if you didn't listen. And believe me, our dad can give us an earful.
Trust me, I'd rather have the earful.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I would have rather had the earful.
Well, I think also too, because another mistake I think a lot of parents are making is that like I think you should, if you have to, yes, you have to smack, fine, but like a lot of parents don't even explain why those kids are getting in trouble, or like if they told them not to do something, they just tell them don't do it, and then when those kids do it, and you're like, this is like they never bother to tell them. And that's one thing I will say I like about my parents is that they would always explain to me like this is why we don't want you to do this.
Yes, Dave.
Yeah. And I don't see for me. Yes, my parents say they're going to hand me a hot pot or something, and I wasn't listening. They'd say, "Here, go ahead, grab it." They'd make me learn my lesson.
Well, I got it.
It goes the same thing with us.
My wife just makes me leave.
All right. Well, actually, gentlemen, we actually went almost a half hour past the normal hour limit today. So,
oh man, we had some
cut it short. I will leave Rob get to if anybody has to attend to. Chad and Josh, it was an absolute pleasure. This is the Bartender's Jukebox Podcast. The
Peace
House
out,
of Men's Mental Health. And I always say,
what up?
Be safe, everyone.
Stay safe, guys.
Your wife, I say what up.
Cheers.
Bye.
See you.